Michelle are podcast's most interesting and loving couple. Join them every week as this radio personality and this author come together to let you into their lives.
The first story I definitely want to bring up is this story I sent you last week. It was a woman who was backed on the internet for defying boyfriend to ask friends she slept with in the past to go on a trip. Okay, so her best friend who's a guy, and her planned a trip, a vacation to Italy. And they've been planning the trip for months now. She's been with the boyfriend for 3 months. So they planned this trip before, obviously, they were together. And apparently the boyfriend didn't care that this was all planned before him. The reason her boyfriend wants her to cancel the trip is that her best friend is a 25-year-old male. She's 28. And he doesn't trust them to spend a week alone together on the trip. In an update, the original poster clarified that she had slept with the friend in the past, which she explained as 5 minutes of drunken sex about 7 years ago. We have no romantic or physical attraction towards one another, so we've decided to put it in the past and just be friends. The update read, since then, we've been on many trips, stayed in hotel rooms before, and no one had made a move towards one another. The original poster also said that while she understands that this is a factor in her boyfriend's comfortability, she doesn't think that it's enough for him to not trust her. We're sharing a hotel room to save some money, but there are separate beds, the post read. I've been best friends with this guy since my freshman year of college, and I don't plan on not being friends with him over someone I just recently started dating. The trip is 3 weeks away, and the original poster said she still hasn't told her friend how her boyfriend feels. So she wants to know if she's that asshole for refusing to cancel this trip. Of course, more than 2,500 users commented on the post, many supporting the woman's decision to not cancel her trip to Italy. But then, of course, there's the other side. A few commenters disagreeing, saying that her boyfriend is justified for not wanting to go on this trip. I would still go, but I would, out of respect for my boyfriend, would get my own room. Another commented saying, you planned this trip when you were single, now you're not. If it was the other way around, Reddit would be so quick to be like, this is a red flag. So fucking true. And that was the point I was going to make. It's interesting that when it's a woman telling her story, if it was a dude and the chick was upset, he would be the asshole. He would be the asshole. I really do feel like there's definitely a double standard here. Do you agree?
I do agree that there's a double standard here. I also take into consideration, though, with more studies, women are more likely to have genuine platonic friendships with their male counterparts. Whereas men, in the back of their mind, typically want to fuck their friends.
That's true. So I will say this. It says, according to a survey conducted by the Survey Center on American Life, more than 58% of Americans report having a close friend of the opposite gender. The survey also found that 63% of men are more likely to report having a close friend of a different gender compared to 53% of women. Also, among married women, only 43% have a close friend of a different gender compared to 54% of married men. When it comes to single women, that number jumps to nearly 2/3 of respondents saying that they have close male friends. While many of these friendships remain platonic, recent data suggests that men are more likely to be attracted to their female friends than women are to their male friends. So I think that backs what you were saying a little bit, right? About that there's always going to be an attraction factor where women actually can take themselves out of that attraction anyway.
Mm-hmm. Right. And the thing about women, especially women, is that once we mentally friend zone you, you're friend zoned
forever.
Like,
there's no coming back from it, right?
There are guys that I accidentally friend zoned who later came back and was like, I would have gave you a chance, but you shut it down without even realizing that you shut me down. Like, I was like, oh, my bad. But women, when we're not interested, we're genuinely not interested. I will also say to her, I would have told him straight up, if you want me to have an extra room, pay for it. Like, I respect where you're coming from, but he and I have been friends for a long time. Italy is not cheap. It's not like she's going to, like, South Carolina or somewhere where we know rooms can be $80 a night. Like, they're going to Italy. and he's making a big deal about it, or if it's an issue, bruh, take her to Italy.
Or leave her.
Or, I mean, that's an option too.
Like, I don't know. Like, 3 months is such a short time. If it was a genuine problem, and this is what people really need to normalize. Normalize walking away from something if you already know you can't handle it. If this was me in his situation, I would just be like, you know what? I appreciate it. It's been cool. I'm not going to be comfortable with it. You don't want to do anything to change it. Rightfully so. You don't have to. I'll walk out. I'm good. I don't need to put up with that. Let us know what you think at Down in the DM Pod all over social media. And, of course, to our email, downinthedmpod@gmail.com.
We're going to talk about people in relationships who don't feel comfortable talking to their significant others, and we're going to try to establish why.
Okay, this is good.
Yeah. Like,
This is good.
Like, maybe we can work through our thing.
On the radio.
On the radio.
Okay.
So we've got some listeners who are looking for some advice on opposite ends of the sex spectrum. So the first woman, she's a 28-year-old female who's dating a 28-year-old male who she's no longer feeling sexually attractive to. And she wants to know how to handle the situation. She says, I feel shallow and terrible saying this, but in the last few months, my significant other has put on a considerable amount of weight. A noticeable enough amount that he's talked to me about the fact that he wants to lose weight, but he's the kind of person... like, he's the kind of person that he'll wait until more time passes. I don't want to put him in a position where I feel like I'm forcing him to make a change.
Does it say how long they've been together?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, actually, hold on. Let me see.
Yeah, because
so
this is a big part of it.
They started out as friends with benefits, and they've been seeing each other for 3 years.
Oh, okay. You can't start off with friends with benefits and then get fat.
She said they started out with friends with benefits. They've been seeing each other for 3 years. She said he's never been on the slimmer side, but he's also never
been a fat fucking cow.
That part.
Okay.
And she says, I love him and I don't want to lose what we have, but being sexually attracted to my partner is something that's really important to me, and I don't know how to handle it. So, honey, give her some advice.
I don't think we are not getting any younger, right? Every day we get older, and every day we get closer to death. That's what I've been saying a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think you should wait. I think there's a waiting period. I think there's something that's reasonable. But there becomes a point where it's like, man, I'm wasting my life away because this person doesn't want to do what they need to do to keep me. And I think that's what she needs to actually walk away from it. I do. If he doesn't care about himself enough, why should she care about him?
True. But this is my question, and this is what I would love to have an answer to, if anyone maybe has an answer. Why do people hesitate to talk to their partners about sex and intimacy? Like, how can you be intimate and give yourself to someone in that way, but then you can't have a conversation about it?
What would the conversation look like?
You know,
because that's hard. It's hard to look at the person you've been with for 3 years and be like, you know what, I really don't find you attractive anymore. That will fuck somebody up. I don't want to fuck you anymore.
You know, I think that as difficult as it is, it's still a conversation I would feel comfortable having with you. Because first of all, I can establish that I know that when you come to me with a conversation, regardless of what we're discussing, you're not approaching it to cause me pain. And I think people automatically get defensive with the wrong person. Like, just because it's a difficult subject doesn't mean that you're trying to attack me. Yeah. It means that it's a conversation that needs to be had, and it may be difficult. I feel like people get into these relationships and they don't establish how important, like, people talk communication, but they don't talk all aspects of communication, and intimacy is a form of communication. And without having this conversation with him, she's subconsciously pulling away. Like, they're not intimate anymore. She felt like it was, you know, an issue enough that she needed to go ask for advice. So she went to the internet. But the first thing that you should want to do is go to the partner that you've been giving yourself to for 3 years. Clubhouse. Does anybody on Clubhouse have anything that they would like to add to this particular conversation?
Sunshine does.
All right, go for it.
And I'm so eager because literally this was me at one point in time. I was with somebody from 2016 up until last year. And the same thing happened to me where I just was like, I'm not feeling you like that anymore. Like, I love you. I don't want to lose you, but I don't want to sleep with you. And I agree with you, Michelle. I feel like that is a conversation that needs to be had. Like, if you can't communicate with them about things like this, that I feel like that is an issue. I came to my boyfriend at the time and told him that, and I feel like some people fear to have that conversation simply because it can start an argument. Because, like you said, people get defensive at the wrong person for the wrong things. Chili, so you don't know nothing about that.
My man's going to be a lady killer. Listen, here's the thing. So let's bypass that, guys. Clearly, she's had some type of conversation. No, she hasn't probably explicitly said, you don't turn me on anymore. But if you're just feeding her word salad, at what point can she decide, hey, I'm good on this. I've already given you an opportunity to lose weight and to actually do what you need to do in order for me to find you appealing again.
You know, and I think at that point, that's when, for me, ultimatums are okay. Mm-hmm. And I've said this before. And
but only if the conversation has happened.
Correct. Yeah. Only if the conversation has happened. So I feel like if she went to him and said, you know what, John, I'm not particularly feeling attracted to you anymore. You know, you've gained a lot of weight in the past few months. You've talked about doing something about it. What can I do to help you? Like, what can I do to help motivate you? And when are we going to start addressing this? Or even she can say, like, is there something on my end? Because the thing is, too, unfortunately, we get into these patterns as human beings where when someone tells you where they feel like you're lacking, you automatically want to attack back. So she can also open the conversation and say, you know what, honey, is there anything in our relationship or anything about me where you feel like I've been lacking lately? Because this is how I'm feeling right now about you. And it can be very open. It's all about how she approaches it. Like, it needs to be a conversation that's approached from a space of love. Because if it's not, people will want to fight.
Somebody got a comment on Clubhouse. Go ahead.
Not dumping it in his lap. Be like, hey, yo, you need to fix this or else I'm out. Like, if you really care about him, then say, hey, let's join the gym together. I'll go with you, and maybe start coming, like, let's start learning how to food prep and meal prep together. Let's do all these different things and do it together and put forward some effort rather than like it's sitting there like some dictator, like, oh, you need to change this or else I'm done. Like that's not fair either.
True. Really how he feels too. Like I know I've had ups and downs with my weight, and had my husband come to me and been like, "That's not cool." I was already in an emotionally unhealthy situation as to why I gained the weight. Like, don't push me further.
Right. I think there's a loving way that you can do it. I mean, because I'm not necessarily attracted to people. I mean, I don't mind a little bit of padding, whatever, but I'm not attracted to somebody who's morbidly obese. And that's going to be the point when it's like, you don't feel like being close to them. You don't feel like being intimate. But is it going to hurt their feelings more to go to them in a loving way or to just be disgusted with them and until you've had enough and then leave? I mean, like the latter would hurt my feelings way more.
Right.
And I think that, like, making a collective effort, like us, like, say, us as a team, we're going to get healthy is a good idea. Like, let's go to the gym together. And then another thing to think about, like, whenever you exercise, especially whenever you exercise together, my husband and I run together a lot, like, that boosts those endorphins, and it will drive things that weren't driven before.
Oh, my man's pounding it out after a good run. Woo! Yes, buddy.
Well, I mean,
God bless your husband. God
Haley,
bless him.
Disregard my husband. He's ridiculous. But
sounds like he and mine would get along good.
Yeah, they probably.
How many nights does her friend, though, come over with a pizza for them to watch the movie together? And she sits there. I mean, there's just so many different little changes that can be made that she can help be a part of if she's going to sit there and gripe. You know what I mean? Like, don't sit there and join in with him and then sit there and gripe about the results.
Oh my God, baby! Isn't this pizza so good? You're a fat fuck. You shouldn't have eaten that pizza the other day with me. Yeah.
Right, and that was my ultimate point of like, this is a conversation that definitely needs to be approached.
Sure.
With
sensitivity,
with love, definitely with compassion.
Absolutely.
With the understanding that before you guys were ever in a relationship, you guys were clely friends.
Sure.
And it needs to be approached on that level, but. More than anything,
got fat after being a FWB though.
I know,
that is crazy.
I can't imagine. That's bananas.
Well, I mean, he got her, so then he was like, I mean,
he got comfortable, right?
Yeah,
that's what it is. He got he didn't have to look for any new FWB.
Consider too, though, what if something is going on with him that they don't know about? I mean, medications, there's so many different things that can contribute to weight gain.
He could be depressed.
That's something that's something I'm facing in my own life, thinking about transplant and stuff. I know already that the anti-rejection medications tend to cause weight gain or whatever. So, I mean, I've spent a lot of my time researching, like, okay, what can I do to counteract this? What can I do to take care of myself? What can I do to make sure this doesn't happen? Which, I mean, you know, I'm not somebody to sit back and just let that happen. So whatever. But you do have to consider that maybe you don't know everything that's going on with them. There could be other things that are causing weight gain. And
this medication makes me feel fat. Bring me the Ben and Jerry.
No, but that's a legitimate thing. I mean, you know, you and I, honey, back when I was seeing a pain specialist, had to have a conversation about pain medication, because the reality is, my pain medication curbed my entire sex drive. Like, I never had a desire for sex because of the medication I was taking. And that was a conversation I had to have. But it goes back to being self-aware. Now that he's acknowledged that he's becoming a fat log, that's his time to...
Okay. But that's my... No. But that's my point. Hold on. You just made my point for me, Michelle. My point is, like, obviously there's been some conversations at some point, and he acknowledged it. Yeah. He said, you know what, honey, you're right. I do have to lose some weight. I really will work on it. It's like, he acknowledged it. So...
I'm with Danny, but at the same time, I'm with Michelle, because how many times has the conversation, you know, been sat down and talked about? Because that's another thing I went through. There was like a time, and it's just like, we're having the same conversation. You're acknowledging the issue and that you need to fix the issue, but why aren't you fixing the issue?
Yes, but you're not applying.
Brother, why you still fat then?
You know?
You talking about you ain't lost not 1 pound.
In a way, like, after a while,
You eat them Krispy Kreme donuts on your girl, I know about.
I am in shape.
Man, you fit my bigger bra.
Oh my God, not the bigger bra.
Let's talk about friendships. Okay.
All right.
We're ruining some in this clubhouse room today.
That's my goal in life, is to ruin somebody. I feel like I'm a couple. So we talk love, sex, and relationships, but we don't get to talk about friendships very often. So
you're a shit friend.
Truth.
Okay.
I learned from the best. Hi, Danae. She hurt me, okay?
That was so goddamn good. Shots fired. I had to give a shots fired.
So we talk friendships in here a lot, and what friendships look like for us as adults. And we have a listener who wants some friendship advice. She said that her and her best friend have been friends for years, but now that she's in her 30s, she's reconsidering their friendship. She says that my friend and I are so close that my husband and friend share the same birthday, and she even they even became best friends. So when we all go out together, it's like we're one, you know, like one single person. You would know what that's like, honey. Shout out my best friend Terica. She says, however, the issue I've had with my friend for years is that when shit hits the fan for her, she doesn't necessarily ever let anybody know what's going on. she tends to disappear into herself, and then she cuts off communication for months and months, or she'll limit communication. She doesn't necessarily answer calls, but she'll text back and say, I'm dealing with something, I'll call you later. So she's saying that she's at a point where she recently had a major surgery, and up until her surgery, her and her friend were communicating regularly. She said about 2 weeks before.
The friend was having surgery. Or she was?
She was having surgery.
Okay, the one who wrote in.
Yes.
Okay.
She said, my friend felt so bad about me having to have surgery, she asked me what I can do for you. I told her, please just call me and text me whenever you can, because I'm going to be homebound for a while. She said, I'll call you and text you whenever I have the time. Fast forward to the day of the surgery. My husband called her to let her know I came out of the surgery okay. She didn't respond. I didn't hear from her for weeks. Eventually, I had my husband call her from a private blocked number. She answered, but when she realized it was him, she immediately hung up the phone. Eventually, I was able to get her on the phone, and she says, I've been working 60-hour weeks, and my grandmother has been sick. When I asked her, why didn't you tell me? She said, I didn't have the time. It's been 8 months, and she finally called me recently, left me a message saying, I've just been dealing with some stuff and needed some time. She says, I've been homebound from my surgery for all this time, and not hearing from my friend hurts. I'm really not sure what to do because I'm at a point where I'm over this friendship.
Let's go to Clubhouse. What are you feeling about this? Miranda, you got anything for us?
I think there's got to be a balance there. I mean, if they've been friends for years and years, should be able to go and talk to her pretty comfortably. Mm-hmm. If she feels like her friend's not being a supportive friend, that means one thing. But you got to let people chill and handle their own headaches and heartaches and whatever in their way that they do. I mean, people have their way of processing stuff. Give your friend her space. She doesn't need to be up your ass all the time. If you feel like you needed her and she wasn't there for you, that's one thing. But don't gripe at her about the way that she has to process stuff.
I like that.
Good.
Go ahead, Joseph. What do you got?
I think she should just, like the previous person said, talk to her. Just, see what's up. See how she feels about the friendship.
Sure.
She still feels the same, because I'm kind of going through the same thing with my best friend. And I'm just giving her space, but eventually I'm going to,
You're going to have to pull off.
I'm going to have to pull off because, I can't be waiting around and seeing what's, where's this going?
Well, you can't put effort into something that is not the way the effort is not going to be reciprocated, right?
Yeah.
True.
And I think there has to be a point, and everybody has their limits. So for me with this whole situation, as I think if she felt like she wasn't being supported in that way, I do agree with Miranda here. She shouldn't expect her to do the same thing as she would do. Mm-hmm. I have put myself in that position where I understand the type of friendships I have with individuals. And some, they're not the type to reach out to me all the time when they're going through their shit. They are the type to kind of become a hermit and not talk to anybody. I can't put what I would do in situations on other people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I really stand by that. Go ahead.
So I have a friend. Well, she's not my friend anymore, but she was the person who would just dump all her shit on me, and then whenever I would call her with something,
she didn't have time for you.
Either that or it would be like nobody can have it as bad as Danielle. So it was still at least you don't have, and it would still be her bitching about everything she's got going on. So I just quit.
Yeah.
And so she has to analyze whether or not she's the friend that's just dumping all her stuff on that other friend, or is she giving her the space to tell her what all she's got going on.
That's a good one. I would say for this situation, honestly, I've been there. I've been both friends. I've been the friend who disappears for months because I'm dealing with my own shit, and I've been the friend who's had that habit to them. In my 30s, I can say I'll never be either type of friend again. Terica and I, a couple of years ago, had a situation where I was dealing with so much and I regressed into myself so much that I didn't realize it was hurting her. And I think that that's what's important here, is that I wasn't realizing that me leaving to deal with my shit was making her feel like I didn't want her to be a part of it. So we had to figure out what was a balance for our friendship. Like, how can I be who I need to be when I deal with stuff while also communicating with her? So we set up a system of check-ins where sometimes I'll text her and be like, hey, just checking in, still dealing with X, Y, and Z. How are you? And we learned how to communicate that way. First of all, I can say it's allowed us to communicate more honestly and openly because it's very direct. We establish, all right, we're at a point where we both are dealing with shit and we're at separate parts of our life. And that was one thing that we had to understand, is at that time we were in separate places. But secondly, we had to also acknowledge that we love each other. And because we love each other, we didn't want to hurt each other in that way. So how can I have you as a part of my life without you feeling like I needed you to be there all the time? I think that in your 30s, it's okay to walk away from those friends who are not giving you what you need as a friend. It's okay to say, you know what, I've got friends that I check in with and I send you a text message and like, you know, like, hey, are you good? Or, hey, I saw this on Facebook and I just wanted to reach out and make sure everything's fine, or whatever that friendship looks like for you. But the communication part is important. I feel like friendships, especially someone that you call your quote unquote best friend, you need to communicate with that person as well as you communicate with the person that you lay in bed with next, at night. Like, I treat my friendships like I treat my relationships. So everything that Danny knows about what's going on and how I'm feeling, my best friends know. And they may not always know to the extent of my husband, but they're at least aware enough to say, Michelle's going through something. But the biggest benefit that I've had is that we're able to pour into each other. You know, I'm at a point where I can finally tell my friends, you know what, I'm feeling empty and I need people to pour into me right now. And I didn't used to be able to say that because I felt like I needed to deal with everything by myself. I think that that's important too. But more than anything, I think that if they're in their 30s and they've been friends for, at least more than 5 years, they shouldn't be communicating like teenagers. And that's how I feel about this. I feel like they're communicating like teenagers. Like, she's going to her husband and complaining. Like, who in their 30s has somebody call somebody else private block because they're not answering your call? Like, that's insane.
That is teenager mentality.
Yeah, that's some teenager shit.
My best friend and I, because this is the other factor too that people really need to take into account, is that life really does get in the way. And as much as that might be an excuse for some, it really is a real reason for many, right? So my best friend and I, she lives in the Pacific Northwest. So she's 3 hours before me. We know that during the week, because she gets off of work at like 9 my time, there's just no time for us to really talk, to communicate. Unless she really needs me and she texts me and says, I need you. Can you please call me? I'll always be there. But then we have our little scheduled call. She knows that she could always get a hold of me Saturday mornings. She knows that Saturday mornings I'm always at my desk doing stuff for radio or whatever, the podcast, whatever. And she knows that she can take a little bit of time. Make your friends know that they can reach you. But life does get in the way. And I think that is something we should really honor as well. I think that we should really understand that we all work, we all have jobs, we all do something that takes up our time. We've got moms in the room, full-time moms in here, who I can't imagine what it's like to have to take care of kids and then go try to have a conversation with somebody. You're exhausted. You're trying to get some rest, right? So, you know what I'm saying?
Learned through the course of my life and everything that I've gone through. Because when I lost my sight, I lost most of my friends, except for a couple of them that have been my friends for years, 20, 30 years now.
Yeah.
And to me, I guess I've gotten to the point where friendships aren't as important. I mean, it's with my friends now. I know that all the ones that I keep in contact with.
My core, right? Your core is there with you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You pick up the phone. You could not talk for a month and then pick up the phone and you pick right back up where you were left off.
Yes.
To me, I can honestly say, I don't have a best friend. I don't. And that's okay with me.
Mm-hmm.
I have my family. I got sisters-in-law. I got my cousins, people that I'm comfortable confiding with. So everybody can choose their own people. That I got people that I train with, acquaintances, people that I enjoy being around. But I don't have a go-to. Oh, this is a person that I'm going to call. It's situational. I'll talk to whoever I'm comfortable talking to about that situation
at that time.
At that
time. Danae, you got something, and then Amanda, you got something. Go ahead.
I agree with her. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I agree with you 100%. I don't feel like I have a best friend. I'm young. I've been through the high school stuff. However, I met Michelle a few months ago, and it's like we instantly clicked. When I say friend and I'm looking for a friend, I just mean somebody to talk to. I consider her a sister. Whenever we met, she made me feel so comfortable to the point where we don't have to talk every day, and we don't, but we make sure we check in on each other. But I'm also with Danny. Life happens, and I feel like a shitty-ass little sister because I am a mom. I go to school full-time. I work full-time, and I'm a girlfriend. So I feel like at the end of the day, sometimes I don't feel like I can text Michelle, but I know as a friend, as a sister, she doesn't take that personal. We can check on each other, send each other our shitty memes, or be toxic in our little friend way. Yeah. But we're still fine, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, Amanda, you got something?
Yeah, I feel like I have a group of friends that I grew up with, since preschool, elementary school, and whatnot. And I feel like since I had a kid, I feel like that kind of changes.
Yes.
Because
I hear this
feel
a
like
lot.
I don't connect with them the same way.
Mm-hmm.
But we still check in on a daily basis, and I group text with them. Hey, how you doing? And they're always checking up on my daughter. Hey, how's your daughter?
That's cool.
Effort,
man, effort. It goes back to my original point of this whole conversation is if you are putting in all this effort and it's not being reciprocated, we're in our 30s. There's no point in trying to maintain that if you're not going to be met with the same treatment.
Additionally, I'll say this last piece on it. Danae made a point of when you get to a certain age, people start looking like family. Danae, that's my family. We don't maybe talk all the time, but I text her memes all the time, and she texts me shit and we laugh and that's what we need from each other at that time. But I also know if I need her, she's there and vice versa. Haley, I've known Haley since I was 15.
I'm sorry about that, Haley.
I can't say to you. I know that, if I need her, I can call her and she's there. I also know that as one of my friends who has children, the best times to call her typically is when the kids are at school. Miranda, she gets me on a level of health stuff that a lot of people don't get. Lacaria is the same way. I have different facets of friendships with different people, but like Danny said, it's all about giving and receiving when you're in your 30s, when you get to a point where these people start looking like family because they're helping you maintain. All of the ladies, all my go-to ladies are ladies that help me maintain different parts of my life. Precious, she's part of my sanity. I love that girl. We could cry together and then laugh 5 minutes later. Precious is my cry friend. I know I can cry with her. I don't know what it is about our friendship, but it makes sense to us.
These are emotional babies.
Let us know at Down in the DM Pod on Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter what you think about friendships and how this woman should handle her situation.
One of the first features we've ever done on the podcast was TikTok Teardown. Mm-hmm. We scour TikTok for these quote-unquote love experts, relationship coaches, to see what kind of advice they're giving the young kids who scroll through TikTok. So we, as non-experts and non-coaches,
I feel like I'm an expert.
Let's relax.
I'm not an expert?
You're not an expert.
You're right. It's you. I'm average.
I'm not. We might have to go through counseling.
It seems like it,
yeah. All right. So we've got a TikTok teardown today.
Mm-hmm.
This one you found, and acceptance can be a strength was the caption on this. Let's listen to what this gentleman has to say.
Things you must learn to accept in your long-term relationship. You're both going to be attracted to other people. It's so naive to think that just because we're with someone else, all attraction from all human beings across the globe goes away. There's a fine line between appreciating someone's beauty and personality and acting on it inappropriately.
Do you want to break this down, or do you want to play it all the way through?
Oh, no, we can break it down, because I really like this one, and he has a fantastic point. There is a fine line between appreciating that someone looks good and acting upon that attraction.
Do you think it's something you should openly tell your partner consistently?
I think that there are exceptions. So one of my exceptions would be television or movies. If we're watching a TV show, a movie, or whatever, and you tell me that, I don't know, Angelina Jolie is hot, like, you're never gonna get her. Like, I don't feel some type of way because you're attracted to Angelina Jolie. But if we're sitting together and you tell me that one of my friends is attractive once, and then you proceed to tell me that this person is attractive, that's when it becomes a problem. I think it's a matter of respect and knowing when it's appropriate to make those comments, and also acknowledging who your partner is. There are people who are more insecure. You know, there are people who realistically can't deal with their significant other saying someone else is attractive because they have their own shit that they need to figure out. And for me, it's a respect thing. You respect me enough and you show me enough that you're attracted to me that I wouldn't feel some type of way if you said some random bitch on TV or some random bitch at Walmart is cute today.
Yeah, it's weird because I have this thing where I don't do it. I don't say it to my partner. I will say it to my guy friends. Hey, that bitch is bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's always gonna just be a fleeting thought. Like, hey, she's fine, bro. Like, don't you think she's fine? Like, I'll talk about it with my guy friends, but never am I gonna be in my girl's face like, damn, baby, she's bad, yo. She's fine.
I mean, because, again, it's a respect thing.
Yeah, it definitely is a respect thing.
And it's about how you communicate your attraction, too.
All right, here we go. We'll continue with this.
Extreme disagreements and arguing is okay. And the challenge becomes in how do you communicate through them. Your partner is not going to complete you. If you're feeling empty or lost, that person may support you. They're not going to fill your missing piece. That is only for you and you alone.
Okay, those are the other two.
I think that acknowledging that extreme disagreements and arguments are going to happen is so relevant. People get into these relationships and they are so engrossed in the honeymoon stage that they forget about what happens when that part is over. And they forget to address the realities of being in a relationship with another person who has flaws and who has expectations of their own and who has their own wants and needs. And it's okay to argue. It's about how you resolve those things and walking away from it actually feeling like something got resolved.
I will say the extreme arguments thing, I completely understand that is going to happen, and I think that there is definitely there should be some importance placed on the fact that people should acknowledge that that's going to happen. I think where the problem comes in is if you change how you handle those extreme situations. Being open to them, and then also changing how you respond and having a willingness to want to fix it instead of actually just putting it off, right? I think that's very important. This guy sounds like he's part of the polyamorous club.
Are you saying that because his last one was to understand that you're not going to complete the person?
Yes. And that's like one of their biggest things. That's like one of the biggest things they say. It's like, oh, not one person can ever make you happy and fulfill every single thing that you need. So that's why you need to be with multiple people.
I don't think that that's where he was going. I can understand where you got that, but I honestly think that he means it in the most literal sense of don't expect your partner to complete you. Now, this one I feel torn on because on the one hand, I understand not looking for someone to complete you, but on the other hand, I also know what it's like to love someone who makes me feel more whole and to love someone who makes me feel like myself even on bad days. It's crazy because like I reached for you in my sleep. Or this morning, you were sleeping and I wasn't, and I just reached out and, like, rubbed my hand against your cheek while you were sleeping. I think that it's okay to have those moments where you're just like, you're such an asshole to me. I think it's okay to have those moments where you acknowledge that the person that you live with and that you love completes a part of you. Like, maybe they're not all of you, but they do feel something in you, and it's okay to nourish that. It's a problem when it becomes an obsession. Like, when you know that you need this person to absolutely function or survive, that's when it's a problem. But to say that someone fills a void or completes a part of you is completely okay.
Let us know what you think of this TikTok teardown. You could always reach us on Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. At Down in the DM Pod, and of course, email us your thoughts too. downinthedmpod@gmail.com. Oh man, when your partner is cheating, or you think your partner's cheating, and then you just
kill him.
Yeah, that's today's Fatal Attraction. It goes down in the DM. An Indianapolis man was accused of shooting a woman to death last week on the city's south side. And it was the victim's longtime romantic partner and may have done so because he thought she was having an affair, court documents say. Minutes after the fatal shooting of Rhonda Fox, police arrested her partner of 28 years, Brian L. Fox, upon his surrender at the scene. Officials have said he was captured on officers' body cameras saying, "God, why'd I do that?" as police patted him down shortly before he was taken into custody. The affidavit alleges officers found Rhonda Fox, 52, shot in the head inside a vehicle while they responded around 4:40 p.m. on September 15th to the 300 block of Teddy Lane. This is near the intersection of Troy and Madison Avenues. As the police canvassed the area for witnesses, they saw Brian Fox, 53, sitting on the stoop of an apartment building and shaking his head. He then stood up and put his hands in front of him as if to be handcuffed. According to a probable cause affidavit during their investigation, police learned that Brian Fox told someone he shot Rhonda Fox because she was playing games with him, but that he loved her and didn't mean to kill her. About 20 minutes after the shooting, Brian Fox was on a stoop crying and said to someone, "Oh my God, I shot and killed her," according to the affidavit. Police were told Brian Fox had someone else drive him to the scene of the crime where he had planned to shoot whoever he thought Rhonda Fox was having an affair with.
Oh, my God.
He's now charged with murder, and an autopsy found Rhonda Fox suffered 3 gunshot wounds to her head, all fired at close range. Her death was ruled a homicide, court records show. Brian Fox is being held without bond ahead of a jury on December 19th at Marion Superior Court. So I'm not going to justify any death or killing, but I can understand the rage. 28 years and you're cheating on, that's 28 years of my life. All for you to end it that way? I could understand the rage, yo. If I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second.
So I'm not upset with you playing devil's advocate with this one, actually. But what I'm upset with is the absolute lack of proof that she was actually ever having an affair. Like, it would be different slightly.
Apparently, trust your intuition doesn't matter when it comes to men.
Not with murder. Okay. I don't think we're at a point in society where you can be like, I think she's cheating. I'm gonna kill that bitch.
Bang, bang.
like, I don't think we can do that. So no, trust your intuition is not a thing when murder is present. But I can understand, the pain and the heartache. He's over 50. Like, he's clearly not getting any younger. I don't know if his Viagra ran out or like what would make her stray.
At that point, though, this is gonna sound. At that point, if I was in 28 years and I found out my bitch was cheating on me, would I break up? I don't think I would break up. I think I would just cheat.
Just cheat back.
Just cheat. Like, at this point, we might as well stay together. It's like the story from a couple years ago that went viral. A 98-year-old guy had divorced his 96-year-old wife because he found out that she cheated on him like 40, 50 years prior.
Oh, I remember that story,
during their marriage.
And then he got remarried later.
And it's like, at that point, bro, just stick it out. There's no point in getting a divorce and going through all that.
It's heartbreaking for so many reasons. First of all, oh my God, I shot and killed her doesn't work when you pulled the trigger 3 times.
Yeah. Oh my God, I shot and killed her.
Yeah, like
I killed her again, and then I killed her some more.
He was trying to Lizzie Borden that bitch with a gun, and it just didn't work out that way. But it's also sad because not only did someone lose their life and someone else is going to lose their freedom, but the fact that we as people feel like those kind of blow up reactions are appropriate. Like, there's so many toxic reactions to things that should be a conversation. And then you had someone drive you over to see her, and she was found dead in a car. Like, there's so many things here that don't add up with him just thinking she was cheating.
I'm shocked that no one's brought up the he was guilty. He did it out of guilt. He was probably cheating.
They say that a lot of narcissists will do that. But, at this point in my life, it would be hugely emotionally damaged, but from what I've learned, I think I would just silently pack my stuff
and go.
Yeah.
Never answering them, never talking to them again.
Exactly. I think that would be more painful for them than...
Man, that's psychologically damaging, yo.
Oh, yeah, that somebody was in your house for 30 years left.
I wouldn't say a word. I'd just pack my stuff and go. And they would never hear from me again, and they would spend the rest of their life like, I really fucked that up. And you know what? We'll live with that.
I agree with everybody, but like really on Danny's side this time because like, fuck it, let's just stay together. You want to cheat? Let's just make this a type of situation.
Yes.
How about it?
Absolutely. Like, we already been down this road for 28 years, baby. You don't like fucking me anymore. Good. I don't like fucking you either. It's fine. Just don't fuck up my shit. Let me have a place to come back home to. We could be glorified roommates.
Let's establish, though, he comes from the generation of pride. Everything is a matter of pride for our parents' generation. And he comes from the generation of men who believe in getting their women under control. So for him, it was probably, like, mad disrespectful. Like, he probably was talking to his dudes. Or whatever, and he was like, I'm gonna teach this beep a lesson, and I'm a roller, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's unfortunate, but those are the types of situations that people get themselves in when they're in a certain age, where their significant other has a level of control.
However, like, killing is really extreme, and I understand, like, people... You do irrational ass shit when you're super mad and super hurt. Why did he just beat her ass? I don't condone beating women or but beat her ass.
That's what I'm saying, right?
I feel like Danae stepped into Friday for a second. Like, I'm gonna beat her ass.
I love Danae. Danae really brings out. She highlights the hood that I grew up in. This is amazing. 28 years of marriage.
Man.
Oh, my God.
You know what's really fucked up? I'm really sitting here thinking about what Danae said. She got, like, a legit point. Like, why he didn't just beat her ass? Like, murder is extreme.
Murder is extreme. I mean, it's a great question. But actually, this goes and maybe we can do this as a separate topic another day, but I was having a conversation with someone the other day about how making out is more intimate.
Truth, yes.
And that I would be more hurt if I walked into a situation where my wife was making out with somebody, probably more than I would if she was blowing them.
You know, that makes absolute sense to me.
Like, I don't think kissing, I don't like kissing. Maybe that's my thing. Like, I think the most intimate act of any type of sexual intercourse is like riding, because you're looking at them face to face. Like, in a sense, you're looking in their eyes. That's very intimate. If my nigga's cheating on me and he tells me, oh, and she rode me, I might do a him and kill that nigga.
You need to do Lorena Bobbitt, okay?
Oh,
Shout
man.
out Lorena Bobbitt.
Oh, this is really interesting. So now let's go around the room real quick. What would hurt more? What is more intimate to you that would hurt more if you walked in on your partner doing?
Miranda, I really want to know what you have to say about what's intimate for you.
She's a little bit of judo. If they play fight.
Oh, true.
If they play fight, I don't want to hear it.
I think we lost her for a second. We'll have to come back.
I don't know if they're showing each other poetry or songs because I'm a singer. And I walk in on you singing this bitch my songs. What's going on? What are we doing?
You're singing this bitch my song.
Because I'll tell you, I've actually had this conversation with people. Like, would it bother me more with kissing, or if I walked in on my wife with a dude's dick down her throat, I would be mortified. I think for me, even though I truly do believe that kissing is extremely, when you have gone past the point where you're putting each other's genitals in each other's mouths, that is a step.
Yeah, and then you think about it, you think about it on a psychological level, like she's on her knees for him, but like your automatic reaction when someone walks into a room is to look up. So you walk in and he makes eye contact with you.
If I saw that shit, bruh, nah, dog. There's no way. Genitals in somebody else in somebody's mouth is bananas.
I'm torn. I'm 50-50 with oral sex and kissing. For me, kissing is a big deal. I'm much a germaphobe because my immune system is low. So when I initiate kissing with someone, it's very intimate. Like, I'm not even one of those people, like, my family doesn't kiss me on the cheek, or, like, I'm very particular about that. The only person who gets kisses from me is my husband. So, yeah, if I walked in on him and he was kissing somebody else, that would be
the one to do it.
Like, that's more for me than even if somebody, like, was blowing him. But if I walked in on him eating somebody out, again,
right?
That's one of those things where it's like, that's so intimate. That's crazy.
Like, once you reach private parts in your mouth, you've already gone that extra mile, y'all. Let us know what you think. What is the one thing that is so intimate for you that would kill you if you walked in on your significant other doing with somebody else, okay? At Down in the DM Pod for Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. We've got to do this one story before I head out of here because real quick before I do, let's go around the room on Clubhouse. What's the longest time you've held a grudge, guys?
You know, I can hold a grudge like nobody's business. Like I got people who did shit to me back in the day. I still haven't, like I still don't all the way want to fuck with them for some shit that they did did to me back in the day. And it's like one of those weird things where I forgive people, but I forgive them for me. So just because I forgive you does not mean I still fuck with you. It just means for my peace of mind, I had to release some of the anger. But, bitch, if I see you, I'm tripping you at Walmart.
Well, try 46 years. Michael Murphy choked up as he described what he witnessed last Sunday at Tappan Cemetery in Rockland County. This was in New Jersey. He shot a video of the man who's allegedly been desecrating the grave of his mother, Linda Torello. I could see him up there like this, and I could hear the urine hitting the ground, Murphy said. I promised my wife and kids the day before, and I promised my sisters because I was fuming I would not hurt the man, but we wanted to do it the right way. We thought we'd get justice this way. It all started back in April when Murphy and his sister started finding little belly bags filled with feces near their mother's headstone.
Oh, my God.
They initially thought it may have been left behind by a careless dog walker or dog owner, but after the second bag was found, they knew they'd been left there intentionally. We contacted the police, and they came and took a report and said that if you find another one, let us know. So we found another one a couple of weeks later, Murphy said. Murphy and his family then got the green light from the cemetery to install cameras to catch the culprit. Camera timestamps recently showed a man coming to the grave with his wife, waiting in the car around 6:15 a.m. for 4 consecutive days. On the 5th day, Murphy propped his camera on a nearby headstone and shot video of the suspect, a man he says is his mother's ex-husband, whom she divorced 4 decades ago. There's been no contact since 1976. I know they were married for a year. They had a bad breakup. This should never happen to anybody, Murphy said. Right now, it's unclear to Torello's family why or even how long this has been going on, but they want more serious charges than just public urination. They also hope legislation can make this a crime. No one should ever endure what I and my family had to endure. This is a really sad story, but good on the cemetery for allowing them to install cameras. I think that's one thing we got to give some props for, because a lot of people would not allow that. But imagine 46 years from 1976, and you lay your ex-wife to rest. Or how did he know where her grave was?
I mean,
to be coming through and pissing on it.
If the obituary was in the paper,
I mean, that's true.
I'm sure it said, everything that needs to be known about the whole situation. Here's the thing. Shout out to the cemetery for, letting him install cameras. But shout out to him for being consistent. Maybe if he would have been a little consistent about his marriage or, being a better person, he wouldn't have had to piss on her grave 46 years later.
Well, he's married again, so.
Oh, well. Obviously, he's still hurting. He never got over the wife that he lost. So I feel bad for wife number 2.
Wife number 2, what do you think she was thinking when she was sitting in the car? We're like, hold on, baby, I'll be right back. I gotta go drop a deuce on this grave.
I mean, she's probably as toxic as him. If she was riding in the car supporting him,
4 consecutive days.
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, she definitely was.
She probably was a part of it. I'm sure she's probably the reason that they got divorced in the first place. She's the other woman. And she's like, yeah, keep hating that bitch. Also, kudos to him, though, because that's some consistency. You believe in your cause so much.
46 years later.
That you went back and pissed on her. She hurt him. Look, ladies and gentlemen, this is why we tell y'all, get some fucking therapy.
Yeah, don't. Grudges is crazy. I don't hold grudges. I will say it's weird because if I disconnect, it doesn't mean that I'm holding a grudge.
True, yeah.
It just means that I'm walking away. And people are like, oh, man, like when my friend Greg and I didn't talk for 3.5 years. And we had friends that were both in our ear like, yo, you guys really should talk. You guys really should link up again. You guys really should blah, blah, blah. I didn't hold a grudge about what happened. I just felt at the time that this is not how a friend treats another friend, so I'm cool.
True. I also think that things are scenario-based. I feel like if you were the person who was wrong and you later realized that you were wrong, it's on you to initiate making it right. Why should I have to approach somebody who wronged me to heal a relationship? I realize that there are situations where 2 people are at fault, but there are also situations where there's one person who's clearly in the wrong. In that situation, he was clearly in the wrong, and it was on him to make it better. So regardless of having people in your life who said, hey, you guys should heal this, it's not always on us. And I feel like it's okay ladies and gentlemen, to say, you know what, I wasn't wrong this time. I'm going to distance myself from the situation, but I'm open to healing it if they approach me.
Well, look, we're running out of time. I wish we could have spent a little more time on this conversation, but thank you to everybody who joined us in Clubhouse. Thank you to Sunshine. Thank you to Miranda. Thank you to Tremaine. Thank you to Joseph. Who else came in here?
Logic
was in here. Armando.
Vero was in here for a while.
Who?
Vero.
Oh, Vero. Oh, my girl. I love her. So shout out to all you guys. Thank you so much for coming in here and showing us love. And thank you to you, the listener, for, of course, always showing us some love. If you want to reach out to us, at Down in the DM Pod for Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok, or you could always reach us through our email, downinthedmpod@gmail.com.